Just check it now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So animal nutrition and human digestion. So when we come to the word called nutrition, so here nutrition means taking in of the food and assimilating it, or the absorption of it is called as the nutrition. So the process involved in nutrition is called as digestion. Various animals have a different methods of eating the food and digesting the food. Okay. So why the animals need to live? Animals make energy using food. Then after that, oxygen. So you can see which cell organelle is this. Can you just,
Mitochondria, ma'am.
so it is a mitochondria. Animals build body using food for raw materials. Like is why the food is needed? Because we need the nutrients like amino acids, sugars, fats, and nucleotides. Okay. So we know that ATP energy for synthesizers. So whenever the food is digested, the food digestion, the last product will be the glucose. So when glucose reacts with the oxygen in mitochondria, the energy is released in the form of a ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Okay. Now, so these all are extra. The first and foremost thing is okay. We have to focus mainly on the human digestive system. As you can see, human digestive system here. Okay. The first one is the part which is involved in physical digestion. Physical digestion means using the physically the food has been cutted or broken down into smaller particles. So for that we will use the tongue and teeth. Okay, the first part is buccal cavity or oral cavity. The next one is pharynx. The next one is esophagus or a food pipe. Then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, rectum, and anus. And liver and gallbladder, as well as pancreas. Mainly liver and pancreas are called accessory glands for digestion. These are not the parts of a digestion. These are the accessory parts, or which helps indirectly, we can say. Then, so the first one is swallowing. Swallowing means what? The food, when the food is broken down into several particles, yes. Yeah. When the food is broken down into several particles using your teeth, so that particles will be converted into ball-like structure, which is called bolus. So that bolus has to go inside the inside our body through the food pipe. Okay, so that is called as, that process of getting inside or taking inside that bolus is called as swallowing. Okay, so here we have one of the major part called as epiglottis, which closes the windpipe when the food will be swallowed. So if the epiglottis is not closed, the food will enter into the windpipe, and sometimes we will cough during eating. Okay. Okay, this is regarding the epiglottis, closing and opening of the epiglottis. See, epiglottis, if it closes, then the food will go inside the food pipe normally. And here, so what is epiglottis? They have given here. Flap of cartilage closes trachea or the windpipe when swallowing. Food travels down the esophagus with the action called as peristalsis. What do you mean by peristalsis? Anyone? What do you mean by peristalsis? Yes, very easy concept. What is meant by peristalsis? Peristalsis ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Yes.
Ma'am, involuntary contraction and relaxation of muscles.
Involuntary contraction and relaxation of the esophagus is called as peristalsis. So whenever the food enters into the food pipe, so that region will be our region then the next region will be thin. Whenever the food enters the next region or the next space of esophagus, so there will be a continuous movement or a continuous wave like movement in the food pipe. Okay, see here, like this, the food enters. Yeah, this one. See, this is called as, here the food enters, then it leaves here, then again it enters here. So this the wave like movement, the involuntary contraction. Involuntary means which is not in our control. Involuntary contraction and relaxation of the food pipe is called as peristalsis. Okay, now food is entered into the stomach. So what happens in the stomach, we have to see. The first step is ingestion, taking inside the food. In mouth, we will get mechanical digestion using the teeth. Chemical digestion, there the starch is okay. Right. So here, what you can see is chemical digestion. In the chemical digestion, what happens? The food is mixed with certain chemical substances present in our body, which have enzymes. So those enzymes will break down the nutrients present in the food. First one is saliva. Saliva anta heltivi hauda. So saliva has an enzyme called as amylase. So this enzyme digests starch or the carbohydrate. Amylase is involved in digestion of carbohydrates. Next, we have mucin. Mucin is nothing but a mucus-like substance. Mucus antargot namige hauda. So slippery protein protects soft lining of digestive system, lubricates food for easier swallowing. So whenever you swallow, yavagadu neevu food na ಅಥವಾ ಆಹಾರವನ್ನ ನುಂಗುವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, you will not feel tough, easily move ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೌದಾ. So that is due to the mucus, which provides a smooth surface for entire buccal cavity and the food pipe. Okay, now buffers. So neutralizes acid to prevent tooth decay. So we have buffers. Chemistry alli ನಾವು buffers ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದೀವಿ. So buffers ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಗಳು ಹೌದಾ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಫರ್ಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತವೆ, ಇಟ್ ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಲೈಸಸ್ ದ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಫುಡ್ ಟು ಪ್ರಿವೆಂಟ್ ದ ಟೂತ್ ಡಿಕೆ, ಹಲ್ಲು ಹುಳುಕಾಗುವುದನ್ನ ತಡೆಗಟ್ಟುತ್ತದೆ. The next one is antibacterial chemicals. So we have antibacterial chemicals also in the mouth, which will kill the bacteria which are entering via food or through the food. So this is regarding the chemical and the physical digestion in the mouth. Okay, next. So here in the mouth, what happens? The food is broken down and digests the starch. The antibacterial substances kill the germs, and the mucus and the saliva moisten the food. The next one is after that will go to the esophagus, that is through the peristalsis action, it enters to the stomach. So in the stomach, what happens? The stomach is known for the food storage, store ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ. So it can stretch to fit 2 liters of food. ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಚ್ ಆಗಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ 2 ಲೀಟರ್, that is 2 liters of food can be stored in the stomach. Okay, now disinfect food means stomach has acid called as hydrochloric acid, so which kills the infectious organisms or the germs present in the food. Okay, then chemical digestion. So which chemical digestion occurs in the stomach? So we have a enzyme called as pepsin, which enzyme it breaks down the proteins, but the stomach is made out of protein. What stops the stomach from digesting itself? Okay, so here very nice, this one. So pepsin is present in the stomach. Pepsin ಅನ್ನೋ enzyme ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, it digests the protein. Okay, but the entire stomach is made up of protein. Entire stomach ಗೆ protein ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಪೆಪ್ಸಿನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ದೇರ್, ದ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ has a substance called as mucus. Mucus secreted by stomach cell protects the stomach lining. So it has a lining called, which is made up of mucus, which escapes or which prevents it from the pepsin. Stomach in inner layer edrinda ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ, mucus ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಲ್ಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. So mucus ಏನ್ ಮಾಡತ್ತೆ, ಪೆಪ್ಸಿನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ನ ಡೈಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಲಾರ್ದಾಗೆ ತಡೆ ಹಿಡಿಯತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಸಿ ಹಿಯರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಲೈನಿಂಗ್, ಇದು ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಲೈನಿಂಗ್ ಡೈಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲೇನ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಲೈನಿಂಗ್ ಡೈಗ್ರಾಮ್. ಈ ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಈ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ವೆನ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಎನ್ಲಾರ್ಜ್, ಈ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ನ ನೀವು ಎನ್ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಹೀಗ್ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮ್ಯೂಕಸ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯೂಕಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಸಿಕ್ರೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಅಥವಾ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್, ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪೆರಿಯೈಟಲ್ ಸೆಲ್. ಸೊ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ, ಒನ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೈಕ್ರೋಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ, ಸೊ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಪೆರಿಯಾಟಲ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪೆಪ್ಸಿನೋಜನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ ಚೀಫ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಪೆಪ್ಸಿನೋಜನ್. ಓಕೆ, and in the parietal cells the HCl will be there. Parietal cells will produce HCl. So with the action of HCl, that is hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen, which is inactive ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. So with the action of HCl, pepsinogen will be converted into pepsin. So pepsin is an active enzyme. So this pepsin digests or breaks down the proteins present in the food. ಸೊ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ಕಿಗೆ ಫುಡ್ ಹೋದಾಗ ಏನಾಗಿರತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಟೀತ್ ಇಂದ ಬ್ರೋಕನ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ತುಂಬಾ ಸ್ಮಾಲರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಖೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಖೈಮ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಖೈಮ್ ಫುಡ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಏನಂತೀವಿ, ಖೈಮ್ ಅಂತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಆ ಖೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪೆಪ್ಸಿನ್ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. And those proteins will be broken down into a simpler forms. So in stomach we can only observe the protein digestion ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. And this is the main concept. Even though the stomach is made up of protein, pepsin will not digest the whole stomach. Why? Because the stomach lining is protected by the mucus. Okay, na? Then, so here, so in the mouth we read, and in the stomach what happens? The HCl kills the germ. Again, the food is broken down into still more particle. It digests the protein and it stores the protein. So between the esophagus and the stomach, between the food pipe and the stomach, we have a sphincter. Sphincter anta andre ಎರಡು ಫ್ಲಾಪ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ಮಸ್ಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ತರ ಹೀಗೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ದಿಸ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ನಾ, ಹೀಗೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೀಗೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as sphincters ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ esophageal sphincter, this is a pectoral sphincter ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. So these, whenever the food enters from the food pipe, this will close. Whenever the food goes from stomach to the intestine, this will close. So these are called as sphincters ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. See, sphincters. Then next, this we will not need right now. ಇದನ್ನ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಲಿಯೋಣ, ಅಲ್ಸರ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ. So you have to remember, only the main thing is the ulcers are caused by a bacterial infection. Okay, they are caused by a bacterial infection ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೀವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು. Okay, next one is, now food moves to the small intestine. So what is the function of small intestine? The function of small intestine mainly is a chemical digestion. Chemical digestion ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So it is a major organ of digestion and absorption. Almost percentage of digestion ಎಲ್ಲಾಗತ್ತೆ, small intestine ಅಲ್ಲಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? So then absorption through lining. Absorption ಹೇಗಾಗತ್ತೆ, ಅದರ ಲೈನಿಂಗ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ absorption ಆಗತ್ತೆ. So in structure ಅದೆಷ್ಟು ಮೇಜರ್ ಆಗತ್ತೆ? This is the small intestine measures up to 6 meter. It measures up to 6 meter. So now structure ಅಥವಾ ರಚನೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ, it will be having 3 sections. The first one is duodenum. This one, the first region is duodenum, where most digestion, almost ಎಲ್ಲ digestion ಆ part ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. The next one is jejunum. So the next part is jejunum ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ. So it is related or it is involved in absorption of water and nutrients. The next one is ileum. The last part is ileum part, ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಅದು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ನ್ಯೂಟ್ರಿಯೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ವಾಟರ್ ನ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಬ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಒಂದೊಂದೇ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್, ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಸ್ಟೈನ್. ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್? ಆಸಿಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಯೋಡೆನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಂತ ಫುಡ್ ಬಂದಿರತ್ತೆ? ದ ಫುಡ್ ವಿಚ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಸಿಡಿಕ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಕ್ಲೋರಿಕ್ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಫುಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ದ ಅಸಿಡಿಕ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಫುಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ ಸ್ಟಮಕ್. So this acidic kind of the food mixes with the digestive juices. So this acidic kind of food, acid chyme andre stomach alliro ahara, food. Okay, so this will enter the duodenum. So in the duodenum, it is acted by duodenum alli food will be mixed by the bile juice. Okay, the bile juice, the intestinal juice. Okay, intestinal juice and the pancreatic juice. Howda? Now, so pancreas, liver and gallbladder. So for gallbladder, it stores the bile juice. So gallbladder in the bile juice baratte, liver indanu bile juice baratte, matte intestinal juice small intestine alle irutte. So the food will mix with all these three juices in the duodenum region. Howda? Next. So pancreas anta helidvi, hauda? So the pancreatic juice, this pancreatic juice will be there, no? This will be containing the digestive enzymes. Okay, so like trypsin and chymotrypsin, which will digest the protein. And pancreatic juice also contain an enzyme called as amylase, which will digest the starch. Then it also contains the buffers which neutralizes, that is acidic food iratala, so which neutralizes the acid food from the stomach. Okay, now, so here pancreas produce enzymes to digest protein and fats. The next one is liver. Liver in the bile juice baratte. So bile juice ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? Okay, now, so it produces, the liver produces the bile. So bile will be stored, bile juice ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ? ಗಾಲ್ ಬ್ಲಾಡರ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ನಮಗೆ ಬೇಕಾದಾಗ ಅದು ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೌದಾ? Then what is the main function? Bile juice is involved in breaking up of the fats. Okay, so it act like a detergent to break up a fat. It act like means emulsification. Digestion anta ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ, emulsification of fats anta ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Emulsification ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Larger molecule of fat will be converted into smaller molecule. Next, bile contains, bile juice alli contains old red blood cells collected in the liver. So bile contains colors. Bile juice color ಹೇಗ್ ಬಂದಿರತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, it is by the old red blood cells from the liver. Okay, iron in RBC rust and makes feces brown. So whenever we see our feces, our excreta will be brownish or dark yellowish in color. Why? It is due to the bile juice. So bile juice in the liver has a color. It takes the color from the RBCs, that is red blood cells of the liver. So red blood cells andre 120 days ashte red blood cells ಏನಿರ್ತವೆ, alive ಆಗಿರ್ತವೆ. After that ಏನಾಗ್ತವೆ? They will die. So the bile juice takes the color from the dead red blood cells of the liver. So red blood cells alli we have a pigment called as hemoglobin. Hemoglobin andre hemoglobin alli iron irutte. So whenever the red blood cells will die, iron ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Rust ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. The iron will rust. ಹೌದಾ? And then that rusting of that substance results in a brownish or dark yellowish color of the feces. Howda? Then, so the liver produces bile and it stores the gallbladder, and it is involved in breaking up of fats. The next one is main thing is absorption of small intestine. So this is a small intestine. Okay, na? So when we see the wall of the small intestine, the intestinal wall is made up of a finger-like projections. See, finger-like projections irtave. So ಈ ಫಿಂಗರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಷನ್ಗೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ? ವಿಲ್ಲೈ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So ಒಂದೇ villi, when you enlarge only one villi, it will be like this. So it will be having the blood vessels and it will be having the space. Okay, and at the borders it will be having microvilli, means very very small finger like projections. Okay, so these microvilli and villi are involved in the absorption of the food. Okay, why it should be in this shape? To increase the surface area of absorption. Okay, so small intestine daita, so their protein and starch will be digested by pancreatic juice, fats will be digested by the bile juice, and it also involved in absorption of nutrients by the villi. Next we have the large intestine. So what is the function of large intestine? So in the food also we will be having the water. Okay, the food also contains a much amount of water. So that water, instead of getting excreted, instead of getting outside, it is reabsorbed by the large intestine. And the large intestine is also called as colon. So it absorbs 9 liters of water every day in the digestive juices. So in the digestive juices like pancreatic juice, intestinal juice, bile juice, in this also they will be containing the water. So from that also it will extract or reabsorb the water. Okay, about 9 liters. Then 90% of water is reabsorbed. Not enough water absorbed, diarrhea. Okay, now right. So here the large intestine is involved in reabsorption of water. If not enough water is absorbed, if it will not absorb enough water, so what happens? You will get a dysentery or a diarrhea. You can see the watery stool, watery feces, right? If too much water is absorbed, ಈಗ piles ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಕೆಲವರಿಗೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ piles ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ವೆರಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಅದು, ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ವೈ ನೀವು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಸೇ, ನಿಮ್ ಎಲ್ಡರ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮನೇಲಿ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಇಂದ ಪೈಲ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಪೇಷನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್? You cannot easily pass your excreta or your feces through the anus because due to the less water. So due to the less water and fibers in your food, so what happens? The feces, whatever is formed in the rectum or in the large intestine feces formation agate, that is undigested food, a mass of undigested food. So ನಿಮ್ಮ ಊಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಥವಾ if your food does not contain much water, otherwise fibers, so that undigested food will feel tough. It will feel tough means ಆ passage ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? It will be very tough for the passage to excrete or to get outside the this one feces. So for that what happens? They will undergo the constipation. So ಆ time ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? The internal arteries or the veins which are present on the passage, so they will be broken down, which leads to the bleeding, so which is called as piles actually. So if too much water is absorbed by the large intestine, it leads to constipation. If not enough water is absorbed, it leads to dysentery or a diarrhea. So in the large intestine we have a helpful bacteria which is called as E. coli or Escherichia coli. So what this Escherichia coli will do? It produces the provitamins like K and B, and they generate the gases. Byproduct of bacterial metabolism. Methane and hydrogen sulfide are the gases which are generated. Okay, next we have, so this is appendix, vestigial organ, adu nammalli ಏನು ಯೂಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. Then next we have as vestigial organ, nothing but a appendix. Okay, the next last section of large intestine is nothing but the rectum. Okay, then here what happens? The diverticula, see here, 1 minute. It eliminates the feces, undigested materials will be stored, extracellular waste will be stored, mainly cellulose from the plants will be stored as an undigested material, and roughage of fiber. So it also contains some masses of bacteria. Okay, so this is regarding the human digestive system. I hope everyone understood the concept. Yes.
Yes,
Just,
ma'am.
yeah. Then we will discuss, this is main concept of digestion and absorption, that is human digestive system. So that I explained. Now shall we solve the questions on digestion and absorption? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then before that, take 2 or 3 minutes and just glance. If you have any notes or the textbook, just glance the concepts of digestion. ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬುಕ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ದೇ ಆದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಬ್ಸಾರ್ಪ್ಷನ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ನ ಒಂದು 2-3 ನಿಮಿಷ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ದೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆಂಟ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, fine. I will give you 2 or 3 minutes exactly. We will again, I will ask the questions at 11:04 it is. At 11:08 we will start asking the question. Take your time and prepare. Okay, let us start.
Okay.
Okay, let us start now. Uh, Fine. Just a minute. Can you able to see the screen? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So answer through the messages. The first question is, what is the dental formula of human being? Option A, 2123 by 2123. Option B, 2123 by 2213. Option C, 2114 by 2114. Option D, 2122 by 2122. Yes.
Ma'am, option E.
Please message me your answer, because you have many members are there. I will not understand who answered, and I should keep on answering or asking the question. Ananya has answered as option A. What about others? Madhu, option B. Madhu, option B. Yes. What about others? Yes. Tasmia, option B. Janvi, option B. What about others? Dhairesh, option B na. Option B. Okay. Fine. Fine. The correct answer is option B. That is option B. So it should be actually 2123 2123. So the correct answer is option B. Question number 2. Which serves as a passage for both food and air? Yes, options: larynx, pharynx. Read out the options and answer by yourself. I'm getting the
Ma'am, screen is not visible.
screen is not visible. Check now. One second, 1 second. Uh, Check now.
No,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, see now. Can you able to see now? Which one serves as a passage for both food and air? Option A, larynx. Option B, pharynx. Option C, gullet. Option D, glottis. Yes. Okay. Can you able to see the screen? No, now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Janvi and Madhu answered as B. Option B. Irish, option B. Okay. So here, the correct answer is option B, that is pharynx. Pharynx acts as a pathway, that is, it is a passage where after that, after much, which will be divided as food pipe and windpipe later. So there, air and food passage will be same to the small area, which is called pharynx. Bile juice is stored in which organ of human body? Option A, gallbladder. Option B, liver. Option C, kidney. Then option D, it is not given. 1 minute. Option D, pancreas. This also got copied. Yeah. Madhu answered as option A, Janavi option A, Ananya option B. Yes. What about others? Tasmia option A. Okay. So the right answer of third one is option A, that is gallbladder. Liver will produce bile juice, but the bile juice will be stored in the gallbladder. Okay. Now, good. Question number 4. Which one of the following sequence is in correct order? Option A, descending portal colon, that is large intestine, rectum, anus. B, colon, anus, rectum. C, stomach, jejunum, duodenum. D, ileum, colon, cecum. Which is in correct sequence, they asked. Question number 4. See the passage of the food. Consider or imagine the passage of the food and see the sequence, how it travels. It is related regarding, the options are almost related to large intestine. Yes, who is going to answer first? Okay. Madhu answered as option A. What about others? Janvi option A. Tasmia option A. Ananya option A. Okay. So the right answer here is option A, that is descending portal colon, rectum and anus. This is the right answer. Okay. Then read the question properly. 1 second. Okay. So given below is a diagram of transverse section of alimentary canal, transverse section. Okay. Label it directly, transverse section. Okay. So you have to label which is A, B, C, D. So here the A, B, C, D is not given. So I will rectify the question and I will let you know in the next session. Okay, na? Fine. Next question. How many salivary glands are present in human being? Option A 6, option B 10, option C 8, option D 12. Salivary glands ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. 6, 10, 8 and 12. Madhu 6. Okay, she said the answer 6. Option A answered by Janavi. Madhu also voted for A. Ananya A, Tasmiya A. Okay. Jani, Madhu, Sumita. Okay. Only few are answering. 2 of you are not answering. I don't know what is the reason. Okay. So here, the right answer is option A, that is 6. So we have 3 pairs of, we have 3 pairs of salivary gland, which is 3 pairs means it will become 6. 7th one. Which one of the following is regarded as a source of instant energy, or we can say immediate energy? Fats, option B, carbohydrates and fats, option C, carbohydrates only, option D, minerals and vitamins. Okay, Janvi option C, then Ananya option C. Okay. So the question ಏನಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಕೆಳಗಿನೋದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದನ್ನ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತಾ, ಕಾರ್ಬೋಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫ್ಯಾಟ್ಸ್ ಎರಡನ್ನೂ ತಿಂದ್ರೆ ಬರುತ್ತಾ? Only if you eat carbohydrates we will get, or D, minerals and nutrients. So Janvi and Ananya voted for C. What about others? Dhairesh C, Tasmiya C. I'm sorry. So here the right answer is option C, that is carbohydrates only. So whenever you are performing in a sports, so whenever you faint, like after a long run, so they will provide you the glucose, which is a carbohydrate source and which gives immediate energy. Next. The innermost layer of human body, 1 minute. Yeah. The innermost layer of human body, which has a irregular folds, human gut from irregular folds in the stomach, which are known as lumen, villi, rugae, option D, both B and C. And it is irregular folds in stomach. Okay. Option A, lumen, option B, villi, option C, rugae, option D, both B and C. Ananya answered as option C. Yes. Madhu option C. Janvi option B. Okay. Tasmiya option B. Okay. So that is why we should read the question properly. So they ask irregular folds in the stomach. So usually whenever we come across irregular folds, we will mainly focus on villi. But they asked irregular folds in stomach. So irregular folds in stomach is called as rugae. Those are called as rugae. Okay. Option C is the right answer. Question number 9. Common bile duct is formed by the fusion of pancreatic duct and cystic duct. Option B, pancreatic duct and hepatic duct. Option C, pancreatic duct, hepatic duct and cystic duct. Option D, hepatic duct and cystic duct. Duct means which will, the fluid like structure which will carry the juices. Okay, so that is duct. So common bile duct ಹೇಗೆ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. It is by the fusion of what? Options are given below. Go through the options and answer in the chat box. Ananya answered as option D. What about others? Janavi has option C. Tasmia option C. Madhu option D. Bhairesh option C. Okay. So the ninth question answer is option D, that is hepatic duct and the cystic duct. Hepatic duct means the duct from the liver, and cystic duct. So both when they mix, they will form the bile duct. Okay, now next question. Which one is not associated with the secretion of saliva in human beings? ಈ ಕೆಳಗಿನ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಸಲೈವರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಸಲೈವಾ ಸಿಕ್ರಿಷನ್ ಗೆ ರಿಲೇಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಎ ಪ್ಯಾರೋಟಿಡ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಿ ಸಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಯುವಲ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಸಿ ಝೈಮೋಜೆನಿಕ್ ಸೆಲ್ಸ್, ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ಡಿ ಸಬ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್. Yes, which is not related to secretion of saliva. Okay, Janvi answered as option C. Okay. Tasmia Madhu voted for C. Ananya C, Tasmia C. Okay. So the right answer here is zymogenic cells, because parotid, sublingual are maxillary glands which are present in the tongue. So they are involved in the secretion of saliva. Which enzyme is present in human saliva? Ptyalin, pepsin, enterokinase, maltase. Human saliva dalli yav enzyme iratte anta kelidare 11th one. So Madhu answered as option A, Bhairesh option A, Ananya option A, Janvi and Tasmia voted as A. Okay. So the right answer is option A, that is ptyalin. The diagram of large intestine of a man is given below. Identify the parts and label. So let me see whether I can enlarge this or no. Just a minute. Otherwise, okay. I think where can you see A, B, C, D? 1 minute. See, can you see A, B, C, D? Just check.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now the question is, identify the parts labeled as A, B. Sorry. A, B, C, D, and E. Options are given below. See the options. See the options.
Ma'am, diagram.
Okay, if it is not so, okay. See the diagram. If it is not so clear, I will skip the question. Please let me know. Only one person is speaking. What about others? You should say me na, whether it is visible or no, whether it is clear or no. Are you going to answer?
Ma'am, it is not clear, ma'am.
Okay. Then we will skip the question. Bairesh answered as option A. Okay. Option A is the right answer. Right. The next question. A large lymph vessel present in the villus of a small intestine. Lymph vessel, okay? Present in the villus. Villi means plural, villus means singular, okay? Option A, crypts. Option B, lacteal. Option C, Peyer's patches. Option D, wall of Cartwright. Yes. What is that lumen? Or sorry, lymph vessel is called as? They asked. 13th one. Okay. Option B. Fine. Option B, lacteal is the right answer. Okay. Fine. So, 14th question. Which of the following match is correct? Option A, rennin protein. Option B, trypsin starch. Option C, invertase sucrase. Option D, amylase lactose. Amylose lactose. Sorry. Yes. Madhu answered as option C, amylose lactose. Amylase lactose. Ananya Bhairesh answered as option C. So option C, amylase and lactose combination is a correct match. Match the following columns, okay? Salivary amylase, bile salts, rennin, pepsin, stepsin, then protein, milk protein, starch, lipids, emulsification of fats. So you have to write which one of this, okay? So below we have fats, okay? Emulsification of fats it is. Just to see this and answer. Just to say me, salivary amylase codes for what? You can say in the mic. Salivary amylase is related
Starch, ma'am.
starch. So A is 3. Fine. A is 3. Okay. The first one is 3. B is related to B. Bile salts is related to. Yes, you can answer me. Bile salts ಇದಕ್ಕೆ relate ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. Starch ಆಯ್ತೀಗ. Salivary amylase is for starch. Okay. Salivary amylase is for starch.
Ma'am, fats.
Okay. So bile salts is for fats ಅಂದ್ರೆ 5. 3 ಮತ್ತೆ 5. Okay. Then rennin is related to rennin.
Ma'am, protein.
Milk protein. Protein or protein? Milk protein.
Ma'am, protein.
Okay. Rennin, she says 1. Okay. What about pepsin?
Ma'am, pepsin protein, ma'am.
Okay. What about
Rennin milk protein.
okay, C is 2. The next one is 2. Okay. Pepsin is protein. What about stipsin?
Lipids.
Lipids. So option B, when you see 3, 5, 2, 1, 4. So this is for 3 and this is for 5 and this is for 2. Pepsin is for 1, stipsin is for 4. So option B is the right answer. Okay. 16th one. Which one of the following sugar is most rapidly, means which will absorb fast? They ask. Most rapidly absorbed in the human gut. Option A, glucose. B, fructose. C, galactose. D, sucrose. Yes. Okay. So option C, that is galactose, is the right answer. Okay, now just a minute. So this is the physiology of digestion. The next physiology is regarding the respiration. Okay, now. So in human respiratory system, we have external nostrils. Okay, then which will connect to the nasal chamber through a nasal passage. Then the nasal chamber opens into a nasopharynx, which is a nasopharynx. Okay, then nasopharynx opens through glottis of a larynx. This is larynx. Okay, larynx. Then larynx, what is larynx? Larynx is made up of, or we can say windpipe. Larynx is called a windpipe. Okay, now. So it is made up of cartilaginous box. It is made up of cartilaginous box, which is called as a sound box. Then cartilaginous epiglottis covers the glottis. So cartilaginous epiglottis will be there. Okay, this epiglottis covers the glottis while swallowing the food. Then trachea are there. So these are the straight tube. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to themed thoracic cavity. So this region is called as thoracic cavity. This whole region will be there, no? So this is thoracic cavity. So it is a tube-like structure which is extended through to the up to the thoracic cavity, which divides into, later it divides into right and left primary bronchi. It divides into branches. So that branch, the first, this branch and this branch. So these both branches are called as bronchi or bronchus anta karitar. Now each bronchus, this parted will be, this part. So each bronchus will undergo, again these will undergo repeated division. Okay, second, first division, again division, like that. Okay, so these are called as, the branches of bronchus are called as bronchi. Singularly we are called then again bronchi will again divide to form bronchioles. Okay, then trachea, this is a trachea, and bronchus or a bronchi, then bronchus, then bronchioles, bronchi. So these all are supported by the cartilaginous rings. These all are supported by the cartilaginous rings. Why? Because whenever you take the air inside, the air column, whatever the air, should not collapse those minute tubes. So our tubes in a prevent ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಸಣ್ಣ tube ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತವೆ, they are covered by a cartilaginous C-shaped rings. Okay, then fine. Each terminal bronchiole, each terminal, 1 minute. Okay, each terminal bronchiole, again this bronchiole will be there, no, in these branches. So these are divided or have a very thin walled and irregular bag-like structure, which have a blood vessels in them, which are rich in blood vessels. So those are called as alveoli, or we can call air bags anta kariತೀವಿ. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli comprises the lungs. So these all branchings will be present in the lungs. So we have two lungs, okay, pair of lungs, which are covered by a double layered pleura. So the layer of lungs are called pleura. Okay, so the pleura will be double layered. This is one layer and this is one layer. In between two layer, it will be having the fluid which is called pleural fluid. Lungs are situated in a thoracic region, which is anatomically a tight chamber. Airtight chamber means this cavity is a airtight chamber. So lungs is present in that cavity. The thoracic chamber is formed. The thoracic chamber idrinda madide dorsally by vertebral column. Dorsally means our back. Namma hindgade part navena anta antivi, ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ back ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? But according to biology or anatomy, ಮುಂದ್ಗಡೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ನಮ್ದು ಉಲ್ಟಾ. That is a back side according to anatomy. The vertebral column is there, no backbone ಇಲ್ಲಿ, that is our front side. So dorsally anta andre front side anta. Dorsally the thoracic chamber is made up of vertebral column. Ventrally edrinda madide sternum anta madide. Sternum is a layer, hauda? Then laterally in the sides. The side alli, when you just touch your sides, thoracic region, you can feel bone thara ansutte, hauda? So those are nothing but ribs. Okay, on the lower side alli andre stomach kinta munche, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆಗಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ ನೀವು ಮುಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ you can what is that, feel the presence of diaphragm. ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಟ್ ತರ ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಬೋನ್ ಇದೆ ಏನೋ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಏನೋ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. So that is not a bone, it is nothing but a diaphragm. So this is a thoracic region ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ ಅಂತ, ಹೌದಾ? Now just a minute. Okay, so respiration involves, what are the steps involved in respiration? Breathing or a pulmonary ventilation by which atmospheric air is drawn in and carbon dioxide rich alveolar air is released out. The first process is breathing. Physical anta helbodu. Alli enagutte, airna oxygen iro airna ನೀವು ಒಳಗಡೆ ತಗೋತೀರಾ, ಕಾರ್ಬನ್ ಡೈಆಕ್ಸೈಡ್ ರಿಚ್ ಇರೋ airna ನೀವು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೀರಾ. Then the next one is diffusion of gases. So whatever you take the oxygen, it has to reach to every cell of a body, and whatever the carbon dioxide is there in all the cells, it has to go out. So this exchange of gases will takes place by the alveolar membrane. So ಆ exchange of gas ಎಲ್ಲಾಗತ್ತೆ, alveolus ಅಂತ alveoli ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, air bags. So ಆ membrane through ಆಗತ್ತೆ. Membrane is a layer. Next, transport of respiratory gases by blood. Now carbon dioxide whatever produced in the whole body ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, that should be go to the lungs ಇಂದ it should go to the air bags or alveoli. So how it will go? It will not go by a metro. Okay, it will not go by any other flight. So it will go by a blood. So that transportation of gases will be done by the blood. And oxygen whatever we took, it has to reach every cell of a body. So the oxygen will not go and knock the door to every cell. What happens? The blood will circulate the oxygen to every part of the cell. Then the transport of respiratory gases. Next we have diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Andre there will be exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between the cells via blood, through the blood. Then utilization of oxygen. So the whatever oxygen is absorbed, it will be utilized by the cell by catabolic reaction for constructive reaction. And after once it is used, the carbon dioxide is released, which is again transported through the blood to the lungs. ಹೌದಾ? Okay, now mechanism of breathing. So breathing, we have a mechanism like, just a minute. Inspiration. The first process is inspiration. So what do you mean by inspiration? In means taking in. Intake of atmospheric air into the lungs. Okay, it occurs if the pressure within the lungs is lower than the atmospheric pressure. So intake of air, simply ನಾವು ಗಾಳಿ ತಗೋತೀವಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಅಂತ ಅಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಗಾಳಿ ತಗೋತೀವಿ, the pressure within the lungs, inside the lungs should be less. ಹೊರಗಡೆಕ್ಕಿಂತ lungs ಅಲ್ಲಿ pressure ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ every substance will move from highest to lowest. So atmosphere ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ the air will go from highest to lowest. Okay, so then it will enter the lungs. Contraction of diaphragm, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior posterior axis. So now what you have to do, sit straight and just inhale. Straight agi kutkoli. Air na inhale ಮಾಡಿ ಒಳಗಡೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ when you touch your diaphragm ನ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿ, so that will be down. ಅದೇನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ when it goes down ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the lung cavity, lungs ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಆ ಜಾಗ, the lung cavity becomes more spacious. ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಬಂದಾಗ no doubt we can intake much air. ಹೌದಾ? Then the contraction of external intercostal muscle lifts up the ribs and the sternum, causing an increase in volume of thoracic chamber in the dorsoventral axis. So as I said, what happens, the ribs will go up ಅಂತ ನೀವು ಬ್ರೀದ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ದ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಪಕ್ಕೆಲುಬು ಅಂತ ಏನಂತೀವಿ ಅವು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ. ಯಾಕೆ? so that the space will be increased. Okay, then it causes an increase in pulmonary volume. Pulmonary volume ಅಂದ್ರೆ pulmonary is related to lungs. So lungs ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, so that space volume will be increased and decreases the intrapulmonary pressure. Decreases means ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಟ್ರಾ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಿದಿನ್. ಒಳಗಡೆ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ನ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಟು ಲೆಸ್ ದನ್ ದ ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫೆರಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ? ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫೆರಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So what happens when the pressure in the lungs will become less than the atmosphere, then again more air will be entered inside the thoracic chamber. So it forces the air outside to move into the lungs. ಹೌದಾ? Then that is called as inspiration. So ಒಂದು ಇನ್ಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಗಾಳಿಯನ್ನ ನೀವು ಒಳಗ್ ತಗೊಂಡಾಗ ಇಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ when the volume of that thoracic chamber increases, that time you are taking the air inside. So this is called as inspiration ಅಂತ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ. The next one is expiration. ಈಗ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಉಸಿರು ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ, ಹೌದಾ? Then after few minutes just ಉಸಿರನ್ನ ಬಿಡಿ. You have to exhale, ಹೌದಾ? So whenever you exhale, you check the diaphragm. So diaphragm ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, it will be relaxed and it will come to its original position. ಸ್ಟರ್ನಮ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಕ್ಕೆಲುಬು ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಹೋಗಿರ್ತವೆ ನೀವು ಇನ್ಹೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ. ಸೊ ದ ರಿಬ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾದ್ರೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದ ಲಂಗ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ ಆರ್ ದ ಪಲ್ಮನರಿ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ಡ್ ಸ್ಲೈಟ್ಲಿ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಟ್ಮಾಸ್ಫರಿಕ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಗಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So what happens, it causes the expulsion of air. So that time the air will go out from the lungs, which is called as expiration, right? So a healthy man breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. So breathing means what? Inspiration and expiration. So a healthy man ಅಲ್ಲಿ 1 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ 12 inspiration 12 expiration ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ then he will be considered as a healthy man. 12 to 16 times. The volume of air involved in breathing is estimated by the spirometer. So a device is there which is called as spirometer. So it will measure how much volume of air is taken inside or how much volume of air is sent outside. That is, overall breathing is measured by a device called as spirometer. Okay, Next we have respiratory volumes and capacities. Very, very important and related to CET. Okay. So here respiratory volumes and capacities means what? We have certain terms, that is tidal volume, inspiratory, expiratory and residual. Tidal volume andre enu? Volume of air inspired or expired during normal breathing. So inspired, ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋ ಏರು ಮತ್ತೆ exhale ಮಾಡಿರೋ ಏರು, that volume is there, no? So that volume, a total volume gain anta karithivi, tidal volume anta karithivi. So that should be about 500 ml irutte. Then inspiratory reserve volume, additional volume of air a person inspired by a forceful inspiration. So suppose whenever you go to the hill station ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಥವಾ ಹಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಂದಾಗ, when you come down from the hills, ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆ ಎತ್ತರ ಪ್ರದೇಶದಿಂದ ನೀವು ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ the air pressure will be more. So forcefully ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, air will be entered inside your chamber, nasal chamber or respiratory chamber. ಹೌದಾ? So that additional volume of air a person inspires So it is called as inspiratory reserve volume anta. That will be around 2500 to 3000. The next one is expiratory reserve volume. So idu additional volume of air a person expires. So additional ಎಷ್ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೈರ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕೋ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಗಾಳಿ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ as that volume is called as expiratory reserve volume. ಸೊ ಅದು ಎಷ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ, 1000 to 1100 ml will be normal. Next one, residual volume. Volume of air remaining in the lungs. Residual means what? Remaining anta artha. So volume of air which is remaining in the lungs even after expiration. ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹಾಕಿದಾಗೂ volume of air which is present in the lungs will be there. No? So that is called as residual volume, which is about 1200 ml. Right? Next. We have inspiratory capacity. It includes tidal volume and inspiratory reserve volume. Inspiratory capacity means what? If they ask you calculate inspiratory capacity, so ಅವಾಗ ಏನೇನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವರು, tidal volume ಮತ್ತೆ inspiratory reserve volume ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Expiratory capacity ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ tidal volume ಮತ್ತೆ expiratory reserve volume ಅನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. Residual capacity ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ expiratory expiratory reserve volume ಮತ್ತೆ residual volume. Residual capacity ಅನ್ನ ಕಂಡುಹಿಡಿಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. You can take the screenshot if you want. Okay. Vital capacity ಅಂತ ಅಂದಾಗ inspiratory residual volume, TV ಅಂದ್ರೆ tidal volume, ERV ಅಂದ್ರೆ expiratory reserve volume. So this is a vital capacity. Total lung capacity total ಆಗಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ residual volume, RV ಅಂದ್ರೆ residual volume, IRV ಅಂದ್ರೆ inspiratory reserve volume, TV ಅಂದ್ರೆ tidal volume, ERE ಅಂದ್ರೆ expiratory reserve volume. So basically we will get the questions on vital capacity and total lung capacity. Vital capacity ಮತ್ತೆ total lung capacity ಮೇಲೆ questions ಬರ್ತವೆ. Next, breathing and exchange of gases. So breathing ಆಯ್ತು, ಈಗ breathing ಆಯ್ತು, inspiration ಆಯ್ತು, expiration ಆಯ್ತು. So whenever the inspiration takes place, inspiration ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, so there will be a exchange of gases where in the alveoli region. Ellagathe exchange of gas, alveoli region of the lungs. So that is why alveoli are the primary site of exchange of respiratory gases. Adu modalne site athwa modalne place anta helbodu. Exchange of gases also takes place between blood and tissues. Tissues matte blood naduve kuda exchange of gases agutte. Exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place in the pressure gradient by a simple diffusion. Andre pressure gradient where the pressure is more. For example, if the oxygen pressure is more in the blood than in the cell, the blood will enter inside. Okay. Sorry. Then pressure contributed by individual gas in a mixture of gas. So in a mixture of gas, whenever you take the air, ನೀವು oxygen ಅಷ್ಟೇ ತಗೊಂಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So you will be having the other gases also. You will inhale the mixture of gases. So the pressure of single gas or individual gas is called as partial pressure. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ, partial pressure ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. The pressure by individual gas. So ಅದನ್ನ ಎದ್ರಿಂದ symbolically it is represented as small p(O2). Small p is a partial pressure. Partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. This is regarding the partial pressure and exchange of gases. Then, so diffusion of oxygen. So partial pressure of oxygen estirbeku 104 mmHg. Then in venous blood andre blood in veins, So blood in veins usually will be carbon dioxide rich. Even though it is carbon dioxide rich, we have one more oxygen rich blood in those. So that will be 40 mmHg. Then oxygen diffuses from alveoli to venous blood. So ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ, 104 mmHg ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ, alveoli, that is air bags ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ. Blood ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, 40 mm ಇದೆ. So it will go from higher to lower. So like that, the oxygen will go from alveoli to the venous blood ಗೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. Now, diffusion of carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide venous blood alli, that is blood in veins, it will be more. So it will be around 45 mmHg. Partial carbon dioxide air bags alli ಅಥವಾ alveolar air ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ 40 mmHg. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, the carbon dioxide is released out from the venous blood to the alveoli. ಹೌದಾ? So here exchange of oxygen is taking place from alveoli to venous blood and carbon dioxide from blood to alveoli. So exchange of gases is taking place based on the partial pressure. Okay, so this is a mechanism, right? Now, solubility of carbon dioxide, solubility means mixing up or dissolving, is 20 to 25 times higher than that of oxygen. Blood jote carbon dioxide bega dissolve agate or soluble agate compared to the oxygen. So the amount of carbon dioxide that can diffuse through the diffusion membrane per unit difference in partial pressure is much higher compared to that of oxygen. Means the amount of carbon dioxide diffusion membrane through pass agodu. ಹೌದಾ? ಸೊ ಅದು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಪಾರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರೆಷರ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರು ಅದು ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ದ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಮೋರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಿರೇಟರಿ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅಲ್ವಿಯೋಲಾ ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಏರ್ ಬ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ಡ್ ಬೈ thin squamous epithelium, endothelium, basement membrane. So here thin squamous epithelium of the alveoli and endothelium, that is the inner layer, and basement membrane. Howda? So this is regarding the exchange of gases and the anatomy of the alveoli, that is a structure of alveoli. Okay. In the upcoming session, we are going to learn regarding the transport of gases. I hope the physiology concept is clear. Is it helpful now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then tomorrow we will be, thank you, we will be starting with the transport of gases and we will be discussing the questions on the respiration. Okay. So before that, read the concept of respiration, then attend the session. So it will be helpful for you all to attend the questions. Okay, na? So, okay, we will end up the session. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.